Airbnbs, student rentals, they can be both long-term and short-term, but the problem is the amount of work that's required to maintain those, especially if you don't have property management in place. That becomes more, job-like, and that's why I have it down in this area. So it's an example of, the difference between income and long-term wealth. And what happens is I have another chart.
Of course you do.
Before you switch to this chart, now, school us on...
School us. Here we go. Hang on, time out. I'm sorry if the Facebook live feed went down. We are back up. So you'll have to tune into our actual podcast on iTunes to get some of that piece that Quentin was talking about. But go back to schooling us. I like how you said that.
School us on how we go from just generating short-term income to wealth creation.
So there's a couple of ways to do it. One is to take the income that you have created short term and flip it into long-term wealth. That could mean taking your fix and flip money that you used and then buying a long-term rental with it.
Okay, somehow on every podcast that comes up, but more importantly, the name Loeffler always comes up. So I think it's 3 podcasts in a row. Yeah. Anyways, all he says is like, man, that dude looks so skinny. So good for you to keep running those marathons.
Oh, Loeffler just commented?
Yeah. Loeffler's an awesome guy. Yeah. That's why. So there is, moving from that, the short-term income and then bringing that over to the long-term wealth is really an important way of doing it. Right. And having those little businesses kind of shooting off money to you every month. The byproduct is that over the long term, that creates real wealth, long-term wealth, right? Not just income. Income becomes the byproduct of the long-term wealth. Can I show the other graph now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, that's not that one that I want to show. I'll show that one afterwards. Oh, everybody got to see that other one.
Nope,
Okay.
not yet.
Okay, good.
Not yet.
Okay, so this is the phases of real estate investing, and you can look at it here. So we have 3 phases. We have the building phase, we have the growth phase, and we have the defend phase. And in the building phase, what happens is leverage is really high because this is where everybody starts out, right?
Yeah.
Unless you've inherited it, you're going to start off here. And leverage is high, so you're probably like 80%, maybe even higher sometimes because you're in this building phase. And over time, you go down through this building phase, leverage starts to decrease, cash flow and equity starts to increase, right? Okay. And then we get to a point during the growth phase where cash flow and equity exceeds the leverage. Right, it starts to go down. You can see the leverage going down here, and then the cash flow and equity going up. At some point, the required income that you need gets surpassed by the cash flow and the equity that are coming from your real estate portfolio. What happens is that most people leave real estate investing in the building phase. They never make it to the growth phase. I would say that 90% of real estate investors get messed up here.
Okay.
And what happens is that they see some growth, and they made 50,000 or 100,000, and then they sell because they see, I made this money, I'm gonna sell it because I made the money. That's all. That they're thinking income again.
Of course.
And so this is kind of like the hockey stick of.
I like how he comes prepared with all of his graphs.
Yeah. So this is what happens, right? So, and this is Sean Green. Like, I don't know if you've ever met Sean Green. He's a smart investor, platinum investor. His name is his company. The guy is he's really smart. He shared this with me. So what happens is, this is a hockey stick, right? And what happens is most people sell right here. At the base of the hockey stick. This is in the building phase. They still sell. They sell right here, and they miss
I'm gonna stop
all
you
of
there.
this.
What triggers people to sell down here?
Yeah, so they make a little bit of money. So they see that $50,000, $100,000. I made 50. I made $100,000. I'm good. let's take this and, I'll go take it out and I'll go buy whatever. Vacation, new car, another house, whatever it is. They miss the growth phase right here. This is the whole hockey stick that they're missing, right? They never get there.
And that's something that I know you've talked about, and I've talked about in the past too, and I know you're doing it right here, is, real estate is a patient game.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right? That's that patient piece.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why they're impatient and they sell right here.
So are you saying, like, just at the base of that hockey stick, literally as soon, in most cases, when the market picks up, they've made 100,000 in equity, they decide, woohoo, I've made 100,000, I might as well sell and jump out now.
Yeah.
Instead of planning for 15, 20 years and then start selling.
Or what they do is they may be stuck in just one asset and they never move on from that, right? Most, like, I think it's, the numbers are something in the order of like 3% of Canadians invest in real estate, right? And of that 3%, 90% have 3 or fewer rental properties, right? I mean, that's the, where the majority of that 3% sit.
Okay.
And the other 10% own, I forget what the numbers are beyond that. 3 to 10 properties is like another 90%, and then the last 20% own more properties than all the other
everyone else combined.
Yeah.
So now, and I know I just need to just dial in there for a little bit. So someone who their only income property. The market has started to go up. Then we've started to see the market come down a bit. Now they're thinking, I don't know when the bottom will end, or where is the bottom. I want to sell now and at least recover some of that cash. Your advice to them is what?
Well, does it cash flow, like we have to, it's all context. Is it cash flow positive or cash flow negative? Does it carry itself or not carry itself? Can I get a home equity line of credit against the equity that's already there to take that out and buy 3 more properties, or am I stuck?
Okay, hang on, stop there.
I love those questions.
In a matter of 15 seconds, he just asked, 20 questions? And people fail to even think of one question when they're holding that property, right? And that's experience talking, obviously. But that's why it's so important. That's one of the reasons why you have Durham REI, to surround yourself with like-minded people. And people that are going to ask you those questions. And a couple of comments coming in. Here's one from our good friend Chuck Reynolds. Yeah, bang on, Quentin. Most have that short-term view without long-term vision to practice delayed gratification.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
I almost want to quote that.
You just do it. I just did. Quoted by Chuck Reynolds.
Oh, Chuck is a good guy.
Yeah, thanks for putting that in, Chuck. Yeah, absolutely. There's all sorts of good stuff like that, and it's important to keep asking those questions. And if you can't think of questions to ask, you got to get invested into groups like yours for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great groups out there, and it's good to be with people who are doing it. It makes a huge difference, whatever you do, whatever your goal is, be with those people who are doing it. You'll get there faster.
For sure.
Now, I know a lot of people have reached out to both Gary and I and talk about, listen, it's great that you guys have a lot of investors on your podcasts. How do I go from renting or living in my mom's basement to owning my first rental property?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is
and
that
you've literally went through that.
I mean, everybody can do it. The thing is that you have to find out what you can bring to the table in any transaction, right? Like if you
this is some knowledge the Q man is spitting here. Come on.
Right.
Like if
we need to clap for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you can take some time and try to figure out what you can bring to the table and what you can bring to the transaction, that's the key, right? So maybe it may not be money, maybe it's something else, maybe it's property management, maybe it's doing the renovations, maybe it's finding the property, taking the time to find the property, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if it's a bigger building, people like you bring a 20 or 30 unit building to somebody, and like that's a big deal. I know there's this Loeffler guy who's pretty.
He's got a message for Colin. I'm gonna let him read it.
Oh no, Sir Colin Campbell! How many times have I told you to be patient? Yes, Mark Loeffler, there, my mentor, my teacher. Actually, read Mark Loeffler's book and got into real estate. We've been quoting Mark on this 3 podcasting in a row. At some point, we need to get him on.
I actually think he's like hounding us.
I know. He's stalking us.
Stalking. That's the word I'm looking for. Stalking. What do you got here? Holy baby. Come on now. Oh, I like it. I like it. You know what I like? It was black.
Yeah.
I got that, guys, for you guys.
Thank you.
That's hilarious. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wait, I don't even know what we do for that. A little late, but there it is. There it is.
So Quentin here is schooling us
You're the
on.
best.
Yeah, Quentin, you're the best.
He's schooling us on, how we can go find that property. You might not have enough in terms of a down payment to buy that property, but Quentin is saying, what are you bringing to the table? It might be the knowledge. You might be a renovator. So you can be doing a lot of the work there. You might be looking for that property that you can bring to a savvy investor and now become a partner into that deal. What other advice you have for us there, Q, man?
Well, what do you want to do, right? Like, what's your goal? You need to know, why you're doing it and kind of working towards that, right? So, and you gotta be clear on what that is, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we get lost in, looking at what is perfect for other people because we see it on television and media and stuff like, fancy cars and things like that. I used to drive, and my wife can tell you this. I used to drive a 1999 Sunfire for since I don't know, I think up to 2014 or something like that. It doesn't really, cars and stuff is not my thing,
Yeah.
right? So but for me, I would rather spend the money on going on a nice vacation.
Yes.
So we go to Turks and Caicos.
Memories.
And create those memories,
Yes.
So it just depends on what why you're doing it, right? And for everybody, it's different. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy fancy cars. I'm just saying, if that's what you're doing it for, then you know what your why is, right?
And speaking about that, what is your why?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. It used to be to get to a certain amount of money in income that was generated from my portfolio. It used to be that. I was looking at, all I wanted is $5,000 from my real estate portfolio. And
$5,000 a month.
$5,000 a month. That's all I wanted. I talked to my friend Andrew Brennan. He was like, yeah, $5,000 a month. He's like, really? That's it?
But you were making more than that as a teacher.
Yeah, but that's all I really needed.
Okay,
right?
for the
$5,000 a month is that after because the income that you generate from your portfolio is different because it's not taxed in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So $5,000 in cash flow, it's $5,000 in cash flow.
Of course.
It's different, right?
Yes.
And so that's why I wanted that number. And then I was easily able to surpass that when I focused on it, and I was able to do a lot better than that. And I kept setting goals. But now what I really want to see is more people pick up on the fact that, you can take control of your financial future. You can do it. That's now my bigger why.
Yes.
It's take more people and bring more people along, and let's see if we can create a whole bunch of people who have created freedom for themselves now, not 40 years from now, not this invest in, and pray, but go out and buy assets that make sense. And then other people, people who've done that, once they do that, then they can start, they've focused and they've specialized and they're able to create that wealth that comes from real estate, then go out and do other things. Invest in, private equity, invest in, other things, option trading, invest in, those things, but create your base of your pyramid first, create that stability and then do whatever you want. Right. And we can, the opportunity is there. We live in such a great country in Canada. We have so much opportunity. And we forget that, people who come from, the caste system in India or a communist country, there's so much that we don't realize how much how amazing Canada is, so that we can do all this stuff. The thing is, you have to go out and grab it.
Yeah.
You have to take action and do it.
The man's preaching. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Preach it,
I
brother.
had to turn his volume down.
Sorry.
No, I love
No,
it.
it's good because
I love
it's
it.
the excitement there and the passion that is coming through.
And I can tell that's and from a guy that has been watching you grow over the last 10 or 12 years since we've known each other, and Durham REI kind of like just explode into this amazing community of people. I can tell that's probably and from your from everything that you're saying about, I want to see other people have that same experience that you've had.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see that, and that's probably one of the main reasons why Durham REI is so successful that it is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We get like 140 people at the last meeting.
Wow.
Like we just
Wow.
get a huge number of people, and really it's just keeping an open mind, right? And listening to people, and then going out and seeing whether there's this card, and I gave you a card, and I brought a copy of the card here with me.
I remember Quentin gave me this card. It was a couple months ago.
So here.
And because of that card, I went out and I made my
Here, I'll put it here.
bracelet that says winning is a habit, because Quentin card basically has an affirmation or it's an affirmation on it.
Yeah, I understand success comes from the implementation of knowledge, not the acquisition of it. I will capture the ideas that resonate with me and apply them to my life. This is what action takers do, and I'm an action taker. That's it.
And I am not a hand model. I can tell you that right now.
It's about doing, right?
Absolutely.
What ends up happening is we watch this, we listen to this, we read this, but the only way the magic actually happens if we go out and do it, right? Sign up for that marathon, right? Sign up for that 10K race, even though you don't know whether you can do it or not, right? I've seen so many amazing things happen in the last year. That guy Loeffler there, like he went to
Ironman?
Yeah, he did an Ironman in Dubai. Like, what the hell?
Just chooses the hottest country in the world,
like,
and
what
let's go
the heck?
run and
Mr.
swim and
Iron
bike
Man.
and do
like
whatever.
this is what people do who are high achievers. They don't set limits to themselves. They do it, right? And anybody can do it. I hate to say this, but he's not special, and I'm not special, and you guys aren't special.
Wait, back
We're
up.
just.
Say that again. Mark Loeffler is what?
Not special.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
But I also said I'm not
I
special.
know,
too.
but we're just gonna clip that bit.
Okay, it's just going out and doing it, right? That's the key, is to start. Don't just get stuck in your head and like all the things. Look at the obstacles as an opportunity for you to do something different. Be different. I don't have money. What can I do? What can I do to be able to do this? Do I just give up and sit on the couch? Or do I go and I find, what can I bring to the table? What do you need from me? Yeah. Do you need me to go and get the wood for the renovation? What do you need from me? Right? How can I help you? And then by doing that, I'm willing to give you more of my time so that you can learn. Maybe you can do this way instead of this way. Right? Anyways, there's lots of different ways of
Dude,
going about it.
I love the passion that is coming through here. I love the knowledge that is being, presented here. I know we have a lot of people out there that is watching. Let us know what questions you have for the Q-Man here, because this guy, he doesn't coach too often. I don't think. Are you still doing public speaking?
Not really.
Okay.
No,
So you have an opportunity here to learn from one of the best in my eyes, a great investor, author of 3 books, a very knowledgeable wealth builder, wealth creator. Let's ask this guy some questions because we have him in the studio today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I do have a question. What?
Wait. Are you got a question?
Uh-oh.
I got a little.
Uh-oh, hang on.
All right.
Wait.
Who's got a question? Come on. Question.
Comes with his props.
Isn't that a gong?
Yes, it is a gong.
You just gonged like
I gonged myself.
Oh,
Gonged
okay.
you. Okay.
Okay, so we got a couple of your books sitting around here. You got one over there, and you got a couple in. Anyways, so what prompted you to write the first book? The
Property Management book?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was a couple of different things. One is that I was kind of thinking, well, what happens if I pass away? And, how is my spouse going to be able to continue to do what I'm doing? And so the book was a way for me to explain the different components of the business, basically create a guide. This is how you do property management. This is how you do vacancy. What also ends up happening is I constantly get property management and vacancy questions. I just say, here, buy the book, get it done, right? Take the time, because I lay it out in a step-by-step format, go and do it, right? So that's why and it's very Ontario specific, right? It's the Ontario Property Management Toolbox, the Ontario Filling Vacancies Toolbox, because it's very specific to where we are.
Have you been approached by investors in other provinces to write a similar book?
Yes, constantly.
Yeah.
Like last week.
Is that right?
Alberta, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you is a new book coming out?
No, you know what? I think that those books do what they've intended to do, is answer those questions. Occasionally I might put together like a course and would do like a 1 day or 2 day, but honestly, I teach because I enjoy it and it's a passion. I'm like, this is like, I'm a teacher. I'm still a teacher, right? I enjoy it. But like the money is in the real estate. Like if I want to focus on creating income for myself, I got to be out there doing stuff, right? I've got 4 projects on the go right now, right? I've got a duplex conversion. I'm building a duplex. I just sold a property in Ajax. I've got another project that I'm listing and I've got a 12-unit building that I'm closing on in April. Like I'm not sitting around like twiddling my, like that's where I'm busy and where I want to focus the business side. The passion comes out. I'll speak at Durham REI. That's where people can find me, right? And if they want to hear, what I have to say and learn, that's where you come.
I want us to do a contest.
A contest?
Where we give away a book.
All right.
So absolutely. I don't know what it looks like. Maybe you share, you tag someone. Gare, you come up with it. You're the guy for these things.
Oh, wow. Put it on the spot. I think you just nailed it. Share, tag, like it, and we'll make sure we'll pick at random, but we'll make sure you get one of Quentin's books. They are phenomenal.
Yes.
And they are also one of the books that I recommend the most. People want to learn. As you said,
awesome.
They ask me about tenants and how to deal with them. And I don't know, read Quentin's book.
There you go. That makes it a lot easier. That's what I do.
Yeah. So there you go. You're being called out though by Chuck here. I got to throw this up here and I'll show you why you're being called out.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if it comes up. He wants you to run at Big Sur Marathon 2020.
A marathon?
We can do it.
Oh man. That was one of my big goals in I do big life goals, and one of my big goals is to run a marathon before I'm 50.
There you go.
So I've been working towards that. That's a 10K half marathon. So that is possible, Chuck. It could be that's the way it goes.
And that's a destination run too. Big Sur. If I know my map and geography correct, that's just south of San Fran. I hope. It is in my world, so deal with it.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
All right, guys, we're giving away a book here, one of Quentin's book. Just share, like, tag a friend, family, anyone who this information might be valuable to, so that
he brings his own sound effects.
I know, he brings
oh no, here we go. and poppers, whatever these are.
I love it.
That's brilliant. He said we'd have fun. Now we know why. We always have fun with Quentin. Quentin, talk to me about why do you keep going? Like, apart from educating and doing so forth, like, is it to generate wealth for your family? Is it generate wealth for whom? Like, who's that? What's that for?
You know what? I really enjoy doing things in real estate. Like for example, the property that I'm working on right now. We're taking an asset and repositioning it, right? So the property is privately purchased. We bought it for $385 in Bowmanville. We've got a lot of work to do on the property. Had to deal with it looked like a skate park where the pool was. Had to get rid of 5 bins of garbage out of the house, right? And we added two bedrooms in the basement, and we have 4 bedrooms upstairs. And this is a detached house with a side split detached with basically it's 4 floors, right?
Yeah.
But so the upper unit will rent for, let's say, between $1,700 and $1,800 or more, and the bottom unit will rent for $1,300 to $1,400, and both are plus utilities. Okay.
Oh.
and across the street, the property sold for $525, and that's not a duplex. That's just a regular detached house. So if I'm putting about $60,000 into renovations, what do you think my return is on that asset?
Yeah.
Right? It's I would say that like a finished duplex in that area would probably sell for between $575 and $600,000, right? So it's a no-brainer, right? And so I enjoy it. I like doing it. I can't see me not doing it, and I just take on more challenges because it helps me to grow and do things differently, right? So I'm expanding into the U.S. I am building a house, right, from scratch. Like these are the things that most people, I think, if you open your mind, can do, right? And that's what I'm doing. I'm saying, okay, I've not done this. I want to do it. Let's do it. And I think that drives me, right, to do new things and continue to grow, like not only my portfolio, but as I grow my portfolio, I'm also growing my mind too,
Of course,
my
of
mindset.
course. Now, do you think most people are just stuck in that analysis paralysis phase where is this the right property, and they keep looking at the numbers? How do we push people out of that phase to say, okay, get out there and take action? Because a lot of what I'm hearing from you today is just get out there and do it. Take action, do it.
Yeah.
Pick yourself up and do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, it really is finding other people that have already done it. It makes it so much easier. If you're really stuck, hire a coach. I do that, but I also fire people. I don't work with people I don't like. I have no problem.
Yes.
It's not something I do because I have to. I do it because I enjoy it. Like hire somebody to help them, like a mentor. Get a mentor then. Other people that have been successful in doing it. Find a real estate agent that's purchased investment properties before, knows what cash flow is, knows what it means to, if you're going to buy a building, that you're creating a, piggy bank, rather than, creating, a lot of cash flow that comes from it. Find those people who have that expertise and pull them onto your team, and get them to help you. Yep. Right. So it really is, there's so much resources out there. It's so easy to find these things now, but you have to go out and do it. Right.
Cool. I got a couple of questions here that, we got about another 10 minutes, so we'll wrap this up. But talk to me what the media has a lot to say. And I want to know your opinion on what's the media's role in our real estate market.
The media's role is to sell newspapers and then to get eyeballs. They don't have much, I don't see them that valuable. I think that the key is, for you to look at what are the numbers behind the numbers, right? And to kind of bring that and look at that. I'll give you an example. So let's say, we talk about the money supply. And that in the Fed in the U.S., right? The Fed in the U.S. has been doing quantitative tightening for the last, few months. So that means that they're taking the money supply and they're destroying $50 billion a month in money supply. And what is the result of that? What happened in December in the stock market? Right?
5,000 points.
Wait, do I have
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, right? So that's the numbers behind the numbers. Now they've said they're going to stop doing the quantitative tightening that they have done a lot sooner than they thought. What does that mean to me? That means that asset prices aren't going to go like this. That means that they're going to flatten off because, they're not doing that tightening that they thought they were going to do, right? Mm-hmm. So that money is still going to be in the system. Right? And what does it also mean? It means that if there's another recession, what do you think they're going to do with their monetary policy? They're going to go back and they're going to use that same strategy because it worked last time.
Yeah, because it worked.
They're going to go print a whole bunch more of those dollars. Remember this? Right? They're going to print a whole bunch more. And what does that mean? Is that asset is going to be worth more. Mm-hmm. So that's the numbers behind the numbers. You understand the numbers behind the numbers? Then that's what the media is for, man. Like they provide this, attention, grab their attention, sexy, real estate. Let's go flip something. But you know what? I find that there's lots of money in real estate. It's not just sexy though. It doesn't have to be sexy to make money, right? You can there's lots of wealth that you can create.
There's a ton of wealth in real estate and a ton of unsexy real estate wealth. Is that a thing? That's a thing now.
I don't know.
We
Which
just
is the
made that
thing
a
now.
thing.
You just made it the thing.
All right, that's ours, by the way. Yeah, but that's that's so important to understand where that message is coming from, right? Or who you're listening to in the media and so forth and everything like that. So we got a question here from Pierre, and I'll just add it to the broadcast here. And Pierre wants us to talk about, or you, Quentin, talk a little bit more about your coaching, your mentor programs, and what you have there at Durham REI.
Yeah, I don't want to, if you want to do it, just go to durhamrei.com in the coaching section and you can take a look. I do group coaching and individual coaching. Those are the only two programs I do. And there's an application process because I want to know that there's a right fit, and I won't take you on if I find that you're not committed to the process. And if we start to work together and you don't do what I ask you to do, I'm going to fire you. Because I don't have time to work with people who aren't going to put the work in. So that's the group coaching and the individual coaching is what I do.
Love it.
Now we got another 5 more minutes here before we wrap up. How do people get in touch with you? I know you mentioned it in the middle of the podcast. Tell us again, how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can go to durhamrei.ca or .com, and you can take a look at that. One thing that I do have that I think is useful, what happens is that over the years, I've learned to identify different properties and what the benefit is of particular properties. So sometimes I'll go to a property and look at it and I'll say, okay, I can duplex this, so I'll add a star to it. The land I can actually use and probably do something else with it other than duplex later on. Maybe I can put a larger property. So over time, I've created this little scoring system.
Yes.
And so I have this little scoring sheet, and that's what I put on the Durham REI website. So if they want to get a copy of the scoring system, it's just a 2-pager sheet, and it helps you to identify properties, mostly if you're going to approach it privately, because I'm not a realtor and I'm not a mortgage agent or anything like that. So privately, that's what I use, and to identify whether I think a property is a deal or not. And it also goes through what are the common questions that you would ask a private seller. So like, why are you selling? What do you think your property is worth? All of that stuff. So I put it on that little scoring system sheet. That's fantastic. So it's a little something, and that's, if you want to do it differently, that's how I do it. And I'm just I think that it's important to keep an open mind, and I like to find properties with equity in them. Right, there's some equity in them, and that's what I do. So. Yeah.
Now, for what is the one message you would like to get across here? Because there was an hour full of just information. What's the one thing you hope or you intend to get across here to our listeners?
Let's take action. It really is to go out and do it, and stop listening. Stop listening.
Oh, I wish I could zoom in right now.
All those people who are telling you to save and pray for 40 years from now. Stop listening to them. Go out and take action now. You can create such an amazing life for yourself if you can go out and apply, real estate, positive cash flow real estate to your life. Add it to your assets, to your investments. You can create income for yourself, and you can do so much with that. You could go on vacation an extra 2 or 3 times with your family if that's something that you want. Yep. You can, if you do it enough and scale it enough, you can change jobs. You can create, if you want to retire in 10 years, you can create that nest egg to help you to do that. Like, there's so many different things you can do. You don't have to wait 40 years. You can do it now, right? So go out and do it. Go out and do it.
Take action.
Go on.
Love it. Again, you're inside Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast. your guys, Sir Colin Campbell here, Gary A. McGowan, special guest again, the Q-Man, dropped a lot of knowledge with us. Gary, take it away.
All right. Well, we'll wrap a few things up here, and I want to say thanks to Main Street Bakehouse for offering us their coffee and everything like that. And up here in the corner of the TV, there's been a toque. Oh yeah,
Did you swear?
that's all over me. It's too bad the camera's the other way. So that stuff stinks. Coldest night of the year, February 23rd. If you're not already actively taking part in it, I can't even talk this stuff on. I'll drop the links in the comments below, but it's an important initiative right across Canada. There's over 130 different walks at different communities. Take part in that, February 23rd, coldest night of the year. It's happening here in Stouffville. I know it's happening in Newmarket and many communities around.
Absolutely.
What are you laughing at here? Oh, yeah. Anyways, that is the Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast.
With our man,
oh wait, but
sometimes brown.
Wow, we almost sang that. All right,
All right, guys, see you again. Take care. Bye now.